it's Miss Melinda here, and today I have a really fun project that I thought you would enjoy making at home. It's called salt dough, and salt dough is soft like Play-Doh, but you actually bake this in the oven, so when it comes out and cools, you can paint it, decorate it, and make lots of fun things from it. So I'm going to show you how to make this today, and I have the ingredients so that you can make it at home. It's pretty simple. So I'm going to hold up the ingredients so that if your mom or dad or an older brother or sister are there, they can see it. And all you need is a half a cup of flour, and I usually add a little bit more because sometimes it's still sticky. And a half a cup of salt and a fourth of a cup of water. And then you mix it up and you kind of play with it and decide what you want to make from it and bake it in the oven. So these are ingredients here for you to have, and someone can help you make it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have my half a cup of flour, and it's just plain, just regular baking flour. And then here I wanted to make sure I had enough salt, and I had put it in another cup. This is a full cup. I'm going to add my half a cup of salt and my quarter cup of water. And I'm going to stir it up. And again, I usually have to add a little more flour because it might be a little bit too sticky. And this is all the parts that you can do. This is so much fun. Maybe I might have to even add a little bit more water this time because it should be kind of just like the Play-Doh that we use at school. Yeah, it looks a little bit dry, so I'm just going to come over to my sink and add a little bit more water until it just all kind of sticks together. Just stir it up. And once it's mixed, I like to just put it on my counter. And you can use cookie cutters, or I'm going to show you something that I did. I made some beads so that you could string them when they're dry. Oh, it feels good. And I just use tap water. It could be a little bit warm so it feels a little fun, warm on your hands to mold, but it doesn't need to be hot water. And I didn't even need a rolling pin for this. So I just put it on my counter, and sometimes if it sticks, you might want to take a little pinch of flour on your counter, just so it doesn't stick. Just kind of like when you're baking at home. You can spread it around with your hand. And it kind of feels a little gritty. You can feel the salt in there. And so one of the things that I did was I made a little pot that I thought you could even give to your mom for Mother's Day. And I used one of my cookie cutters, but you don't have to use a cookie cutter. You could just make it with your hands. But I used a cookie cutter, a large cookie cutter, and I just pressed it out. And then I put it over, actually a smaller bowl. I'm going to get one from my cupboard right here to kind of shape it. Oops, kind of smushed it a little bit. And I actually put it in the oven like this. And once it firmed up for about an hour, I just took it out. I didn't need the bowl in there anymore. So you could do that. You don't have to do that. You could just take a pinch and make another kind of cookie. I made a lot of hearts, so I have a heart here. It just feels just like cookie dough. You could put some hearts on there. I also have, ooh, this is kind of like a starburst. Make one more. It will start to dry, so this isn't something that you want to play with for too long. You don't want to make it too thick. Kind of about the same thickness as a cookie, because it does need to dry out. So you could make a starburst or whatever kind of cookie cutters you have. I don't have any animal ones here at home, but if you had some animal ones, that would be a lot of fun too, to paint especially. And the last thing that I wanted to show you that I did that was lots of fun, to make a necklace. If you'd like to do that for your mom or for yourself, there's plenty of dough here to make one for you and your mom, so you could have matching necklaces. As I made a nice long snake, and I just rolled it back and forth, and boy, it just is very easy to work with. It's not like heavy clay. And then I just took pinches. And if you have some children's scissors, it might even be fun to snip it. It'd be fun, like we do at school. But I'm just going to use my fingers, and I'm just going to make little circles. And I won't do all of this, but it gives you the idea. So you can see it makes quite a bit. You can make quite a few shapes. And what I did to make the hole inside my bead was I had a little straw. Where did my straw go? Oh, I have another one over here in my kitchen. And you're going to just poke a hole right through it, like this. It'll make a great, it looks like a little Cheerio, or actually kind of a big Cheerio. And I put them on my cookie tray. And so on. So you can make whatever you want. I actually, to make a different kind of pot, if you didn't want to do it with the cookie cutter, I didn't make a pinch pot, but this is called a pinch pot. You kind of roll it into a big circle, and you pinch it. Put your thumb in and pinch it, and you go, ooh, around the edges. Ooh, this will be a great pot to make. That way you don't even have to put a dish in the oven. Ooh, I like the pinch pot. Make the sides go up a little bit more. And it's something that your mom could put her earrings in or her necklace in at night, or coins. And I'll put it right on my tray. Ooh, I really like that pinch pot. I didn't make one of those. I made one like this yesterday. And then you put it in your oven with all your beads, and you can see I still have some left over. And of course you can always make the recipe twice and make some more things if you have siblings that want to make it with you. You put it in the oven, and my oven is already set at 200 degrees, so that's a very low temperature, even though it sounds like a very big number. It's a low temperature, and you can cook it for, you can put your timer on for it's 2 to 3 hours. And sometimes the bowls, especially since they're thicker, I'll just kind of stop for right now because you can cook later. And sometimes the bowls might still feel like they're a little bit damp inside, so I just put it out in the sun and let it dry. And then when they're completely dry, maybe later today if you did it right away, or tomorrow, it's kind of best to let it dry overnight, you can bake it. So I have some over on my counter here that I've already painted and decorated. And I can show you some of the things that I did. Oh, there's my straw because I was going to use it for something. So here are some, I just used some tempera paint. I went to the store and they are all out of acrylics like this. So if you have acrylics, I had one bottle. I had some blue, and the blue is great if you have acrylic because it just soaks right into the clay right away, or the salt dough, this isn't clay, soaks right in with one coat of paint. They did have a little kit, and this was like $1. And these are tempera paints, so they're not quite as thick, but they work, so I was happy about that. So I had some of my shapes. I painted some of my hearts, and here's my little pot that I painted like a flower, the one that was my cookie cutter, and I draped over the bowl. And one of them I put a button on. This is where my straw was. I was doing something with the straw. I went, oh, I could make a little flower if I glued that on the back. And then I put a magnet on it. So it could be a little magnet. And let me see how that works. In fact, I put magnets on a few of these. So here's my magnets. And then I made a big heart. My cookie cutters happen to have a big heart. And I put a hole in it. And I wrote Mom. And you can make a necklace for your mom. I had some jewels. And the last thing I wanted to show you were those beads. Those beads were so much fun to make. I ended up making some beads, and I made them bright, colorful colors. And I have 2 beads left. And one secret that I want to share with families at home is sometimes it's hard to lace with, this happens to be string. I have some cotton string, but you could use yarn or ribbon or anything that you have that's good for threading. And sometimes it's really hard to thread because it gets soft and it won't go in and the yarn starts to separate. So what I do is I take some glue. I had some art glue, but you could use just regular glue. And I rub it on the tip of my yarn. And then I just let it dry for while the dough is baking. And then it makes a nice stiff tip like a needle. And it makes it a lot of fun just to lace with. So I have a couple more here. And you can make your mom a beautiful necklace. There's one more thing that I forgot you can do. It's not necessary. There it is. Perfect. It's not necessary, but it will help it, especially if it's something that you want to put outside, is I had some sealer gloss. You don't have to have this, but it gives it a little bit of shine. So you can decide if you have any of that at home, but it really isn't necessary. So boys and girls, I hope you have fun watching this video. I hope you're able to do it with someone at home, and have a great time. Bye.